So it's not very often that we get to talk about a story where a star player in a league gets to go scorched earth on not just the referees. We've seen that officiating. We've seen that journalists. We've seen it fans. We've seen it. But to really go hard in the paint on an NBA commissioner, the people in charge. And that is what we saw when Nafisi Collier talked about WNBA commissioner Kathleen Engelbert in her end of the season press conference. Nafisi, a star player in the WNBA, plays for the Minnesota Lynx. Obviously, there's been a lot of talk in general, and it's been in the forefront. The WNBA, the surge of popularity, the emergence of Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese and Juju and all these different awesome players from Asia Wilson and Kelsey Plum and you just Stewie, and you just go down and down and down and down, right? Like, it has grown in popularity, in the zeitgeist. They are fashion icons. They are representatives of the LGBTQ. They have big-time relationships with guys in the NBA. The league has expanded and grown, I think, faster than anybody thought. Even the most optimistic of pundits or fans have thought. And when we heard a star player, a big-time player in that league, talk about not just the normal concerns that you hear from any sport, but really breaking down what she felt. And I think there is no better person than Nafisi herself. So we're going to actually listen to this. This comes to us from ESPN's WNBA on ESPN. And this is Nafisi talking about the commissioner, Kathleen Engelbert.
I have prepared a statement that I'd like to make before taking any questions. Of course. All right. So first of all, I'd like to congratulate the Mercury for advancing to the finals. And I want to be clear, this conversation is not about winning or losing. It's about something much bigger. The real threat to our league isn't money, it isn't ratings, or even missed calls, or even physical play. It's the lack of accountability from the league office. Since I've been in the league, you've heard the constant concerns about officiating, and it has now reached levels of inconsistency that plague our sport and undermine the integrity in which it operates. Whether the league cares about the health of the players is one thing, but to also not care about the product we put on the floor is truly self-sabotage. Year after year, the only thing that remains consistent is the lack of accountability from our leaders. Sorry, I had to walk here in my boot. I'm kind of... The league has a buzzword that they've rolled out as talking points for the CBA as to why they can't pay the players what we're worth. That word is sustainability. But what's truly unsustainable is keeping a good product on the floor while allowing officials to lose control of games. Fans see it every night. Coaches, both winning and losing, point it out every night in pregame and postgame media. Yet leadership just issues fines and looks the other way. They ignore the issues that everyone inside the game is begging to be fixed. That is negligence. At Unrivaled this past February, I sat across from Kathy and asked how she planned to address the officiating issues in our league. Her response was, well, only the losers complain about the refs. I also asked how she planned to fix the fact that players like Caitlin, Angel, and Paige, who are clearly driving massive revenue for the league, are making so little for their first 4 years. Her response was, Caitlin should be grateful she makes $16 million off the court, because without the platform that the WNBA gives her, she wouldn't make anything. And in that same conversation, she told me players should be on their knees thanking their lucky stars for the media rights deal that I got them. That's mentality driving our league from the top. We go to battle every day to protect a shield that doesn't value us. The league believes it succeeds despite its players, not because of them. I have the privilege of watching my husband run a league where he has to balance 100 different things at once. I won't pretend the job is easy, but even with all of that on his plate, he always takes the time to reach out to players when he sees an injury, whether it's Unrivaled or even during the WNBA season. That is what leadership looks like. It's the human element. It's basic integrity, and it's the bare minimum any leader should embody. This year alone, I've gotten calls, texts, and well wishes from so many players across the league. Those moments remind me that sometimes there are things bigger than the results than this game we play. But do you know who I haven't heard from? Kathy. Not one call, not one text. Instead, the only outreach has come from her number 2 telling my agent that she doesn't believe physical play is contributing to injuries. That is infuriating, and it's the perfect example of the tone-deaf, dismissive approach that our leaders always seem to take. I have finally grown tired. For too long, I have tried to have these conversations in private. but it's clear there is no intention of accepting there's a problem. The league has made it clear it isn't about innovation, it isn't about collaboration, it's about control and power. I've earned this platform and I've paid the price to get here, and now I have a responsibility to speak on behalf of the fans and everyone in this league that deserves better. Our leadership's answer to being held accountable is to suppress everyone's voices by handing out fines. I'm not concerned about a fine. I'm concerned about the future of our sport. At some point, everyone deserves to hear the truth from someone who I hope has earned the benefit of the doubt to fight for what is right and fair for our athletes and our fans. We have the best players in the world. We have the best fans in the world. But right now, we have the worst leadership in the world. If I didn't know exactly what the job entailed, maybe I wouldn't feel this way. But unfortunately for them, I do. We serve a league that has shown they think championship coaches and Hall of Fame players are dispensable, and that's fine. It's professional sports. But I will not stand quietly by and allow different standards to be applied at the league level.
And I just want to reiterate, we have never seen anything quite like this. We've seen a lot of people talk badly and give constructive criticism, and rightfully so. And I think in this case that's the case. But we've never seen somebody go so hard in the paint on something like this, and it's gained so much traction, and so much so that we've seen now WNBA players now come out and talk about it and are piling on. And I don't mean that in a negative way of terming it, but just adding on to this downfall for the WNBA commissioner. I mean, you have Sophia Cunningham talking about the owners themselves in an interesting tweet that she just put in an interesting statement, saying they might be really great business people, but they don't know stuff about basketball. I'm just tired of our league, in another quote. And Caitlin Clark has talked about it. I mean, so many of the big prominent players have voiced their displeasure. But the thing that we have to make obvious, and you heard it in there from the statement from herself, is they're in labor discussions. There will be a lockout in the WNBA. There's an alternative in Unrivaled where people are getting paid a lot of money. Let's not forget, it was just a few years ago that you had to have somebody like Brittany Griner go across seas and gets arrested for something dumb she did, but had to do that to supplement her income because the WNBA wasn't making enough money, or for what they're worth. So you could talk about, is X amount of player worth this amount? That's your opinion. Stay out of people's pockets. If somebody wants to pay somebody that amount of money, that's on them. You don't have to be the judge, jury, and executioner on how much or what's the cap of somebody else just because we don't get paid well, just because our bosses in all our daily lives or the amount of loans that we have aren't taken care of. Get that out of the equation. The growth, the TV rights that these billionaires now have that didn't have these assets in the WNBA are now getting it because of the labor. If you're pro-labor, if you talk about being pro-labor, you got to be for the athlete in this case, especially the WNBA. We're not talking about the NBA, which you still should be pro-labor, where they're making so much money. The average contract is not the same. So yeah, when you have flippant owners and a flippant commissioner, and more importantly, allowing all the heat to go on Kathy Engelbert instead of the NBA, who do deserve the heat. Because guess who's one of the major partners of the WNBA? That's right. So if they wanted this to go away, if they wanted to treat their players the proper way they should, as the commodities they are, the NBA could get involved in this. Always remember that the almighty powerful NBA can make sure that they take care of the WNBA. They could take care of that fan base. They could take care of the next generation of women basketball fans, of fans who love women's college basketball, WNBA, and the NBA. But you haven't heard anything from them yet, have you? We keep things rolling here on the Sports Cubicle and Sports from the Couch on WCPT 820 AM, HeartlandSignal.com, and on YouTube at the Sports Cubicle. I'm your host, Mike Mercado.